Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 26 of the Alibi Podcast. Today is the Monday after the Super Bowl, and boy, is there stuff to talk about.
There sure is. There's a lot to talk about.
An absolute knockdown, drag-out fight, except for
entirely one-sided.
Yeah, they knocked him out in the first
they
quarter
knocked him out and then dragged him out
for three quarters.
Yeah. That was nasty. That was a nasty game. I did not see it going that way at all. I was shocked, but apparently everybody on the Chiefs' offensive line needs to be fired right now.
Yeah, you would think that after, winning some Super Bowls and playing the Eagles before in the Super Bowl and playing a whole season of football to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They would know how to play ball.
You'd think you'd be able to protect your quarterback.
But, I don't know. It was so bad.
It was really bad.
It was just abysmal.
Yeah, it's sad. And I'm definitely going to go ahead and blame the Chiefs' offensive line. You got to protect your $250 million quarterback.
Everybody is to blame. On the Chiefs organization,
I feel like the Chiefs defense played their hearts out. They did.
That's true. They tried really hard.
They did the best they could, given the fact they were on the field for 95% of the game.
It was bad.
They were just getting slugged at for 4 quarters. What are they going to do? I mean, and they kept Saquon to less than 100 yards. So it's that's all you wanted from them. Basically, you just didn't expect that the offense would suck.
Mahomes
pick sixes and stuff.
Threw the ball at one point. So we had 2 TVs going in the place where we were having the party, our grandma's house, and so downstairs was maybe a minute and a half ahead of upstairs,
something like that.
At one point, and so one of the guys comes up from downstairs and he says, "Oh, you're about to see a great play. The form is just amazing from Mahomes. You better watch this." And so I'm locked in,
Right.
And Mahomes just, squares up, throws a beautiful pass directly to the other team.
Yeah, it was bad.
They just catch it so smoothly.
He had it. Yeah.
It was the most intentional looking interception.
INT and a pick six. It was crazy.
Wild game.
But
wild game.
I don't think we're here to really break down the football game.
No, we're not a sports podcast. We couldn't care less.
Couldn't care less. Well,
me personally, I couldn't care less. Jonathan, he likes football.
I do like football a little bit. I pay attention and whatever. Anyway, still not here. I don't know enough to really truly break everything down. I'm not
sad. My life was not affected in any way by.
I'm definitely moving on. I'm certainly moving on. But you know what we can't move on from quite yet is the Super Bowl commercials.
That's right.
We've got to talk about these Super Bowl commercials.
I
got a couple in
breakdown.
particular that I want to talk about. Did you have anything in mind that you need to talk about?
I have a lot of notes. Yeah. Do you want to go first or me?
Well, I think I'll go first.
Okay.
I didn't see this commercial. I think it might have aired only in specific places, but on TikTok I saw that Kanye bought another Super Bowl commercial.
I did see that, and I didn't see it on TV.
I didn't see it. I think his commercials have only been aired in certain areas, but he bought a commercial and it was very similar. This time he said, "I spent all of the budget on my new teeth." Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to tell you, go to Yeezy.com. Did you go to Yeezy.com?
No, of course not.
Go to Yeezy.com right now, dude.
Okay.
Go to Yeezy.com. This, if everybody, I'm not gonna spoil what's on Yeezy.com, but there is one item, there is one shirt on Yeezy.com.
Oh my gosh.
And it is a shocker. It is. I don't think it's even for sale. Is there a purchase?
You can select a size? No.
There's no way to check out. There's just. Is there?
Yeah, it's $20 to buy the shirt.
$20 to buy this shirt. I hope nobody buys this shirt.
Guys, it's a plain white shirt with a swastika on it.
There's a swastika on it.
There is no defending Kanye at this point. Also,
he made dropout, bro, okay? He made graduation.
There's no defending whatsoever. People have been trying to defend him forever, and he's gotten, just exponentially worse over time.
It's crazy.
And actually, this is a total bunny trail. I did not want to talk about Kanye. But Jeremy Boring, the CEO of the Daily Wire, who's he's a rogue. Like, I never know if I'm rooting for him or not because he's like crazy sometimes.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't always agree with him, but sometimes I do, and when I do, I really do, you know? But
Sure.
you never know what's going to come out of his mouth. But you know it's not going to be as crazy as Kanye. But anyway, in like 2020, I don't know, a couple years ago, whenever Kanye was getting canceled, he made a whole Twitter thread about it. And he was like, at the end of his Twitter thread, he was like, and I could be wrong, but I think that Kanye is just not good at articulating himself and misunderstood in this situation, right?
Sure.
And this week he reshared it on Twitter and he said, as the narrator says, he was wrong.
Now, I think Kanye is, he's at a different level. Like, I don't think he cares really about any of it. Like, he's got enough money. And at this point, like, he's just doing the most shocking thing he can come up with because he likes the reactions, and it's kind of like a fun game for him, like to see everybody go
to
crazy.
just do the dumbest stuff. No, I think he's got to be genuinely like something is wrong mentally.
I mean, probably, because you can't just do the most shocking things and be a fine person. But
Like Lil Nas X did dumb, demonic stuff for shock value,
yeah.
but he's not actually like that, right?
Well, listen, you can also, like, shock value goes down, right? So, like, and you can even see this in Kanye's life. Like, what was shocking, even, like, in 2019 when Lil Nas X was wilding out? It's just nobody cares anymore. Like, you know, Cardi B wouldn't go viral for WAP anymore. Nobody cares. You've got to be more shocking now. So now Kanye has taken it up a level in every possible way for what he's done at the Grammys, and now with the Super Bowl, he's just being more shocking because he's Kanye and he doesn't care.
Speaking of shocking,
What's up?
there was a commercial for like a froth foam thing that you put on your
Let me
coffee.
just preface this real quick. I've had the cold foam from the can.
Oh, is it good?
Mom bought it a couple weeks ago. It's phenomenal. Okay, it's so good.
The commercial was just wildly concerning.
It was not cool. Yeah.
I quite literally was watching the commercial and I was screaming.
Yeah, there was
Like,
a
I
lot
was
of
like,
everybody was sitting there like, I'm violated. Yeah. It was a shock value commercial. Again, shock value sells.
I don't know if it was supposed to be shock value though.
Maybe
Whoever
just some
made it might have
autistic
thought they
person
were
was like,
clever.
this is a good commercial.
The tongue comes out of his mouth.
Okay,
and
don't
just-
describe it on the
All right,
pod, man.
okay. But there was a theme throughout
Yeah.
the night of parts of your face leaving.
Yeah.
We're looking at Little Caesars with the eyebrows.
Yeah.
And Pringles with the mustaches that looked just exactly like the Little Caesars eyebrows.
Yeah, very similar.
Something is not right. Also, did Pringles and Little Caesars know what each other was doing?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Also, I'm not buying that thing from Little Caesars. Everybody knows what we go to Little Caesars for.
The crazy bread.
That's right. We going for the crazy bread, and we getting hot and ready. All right.
Hot and ready pizza and the crazy
we
bread.
want
Okay,
hot and ready pizza
but
and
it's not $5 anymore.
Either way,
It's
listen.
not hot and ready.
They keep trying to come up with new products to try to like get us to go to Little Caesars.
That's
more
because
or
their
whatever.
primary value proposition no longer exists.
Well, sure, but they keep trying to come up with these new things like, oh, you'll go to Little Caesars because you'll like this pizza cupcake bike. No, I won't. Okay.
It actually looks pretty good though. You might like it.
No, I'm going to Little Caesars for two things. All right.
A hot and ready
A
pizza.
hot and ready, a pepperoni pizza, and a crazy bread, dude.
A crazy bread.
I've gone just for the crazy bread. I would have just crazy bread for lunch because I didn't want to spend all that money on a
Oh
pizza.
yeah, crazy bread is so good, bro.
It's a terrible lunch, but sometimes at barber school I would have just crazy
Well,
bread.
do you eat it with the marinara sauce?
No, I
You
just
just eat it
raw
by
dog.
itself.
It's
See?
so good.
It is good. It is good. But if you have the marinara sauce, it feels more like a well-rounded meal. Like it feels
Listen,
acceptable.
I love
to eat.
marinara more than anybody.
It's
in the
awful
world.
for you,
Okay.
I'm sure.
I love
More than
mar-
anybody in the
I'm
world.
up there with the marinara lovers of the world. Okay, maybe not more than anybody, but I like marinara as much as the next person.
Yeah. It's not good marinara.
It's not. But
That's not what I'm saying.
Marinara doesn't make a piece of bread a meal. Okay.
I might have Little Caesars for dinner tonight now. This is really getting to
come?
me. Can you come?
I want crazy bread. Just give me a crazy bread, bro. Listen, the crazy bread is fire. I don't like to add the marinara because it takes away from like the parmesaniness
That's
of it.
true. The Parmesan
It really
is so
does.
good.
It's so good. But also, it doesn't feel like a meal because it's literally just like carbs. Like you're just eating. You know this is bad for you. Like you know this is about the worst thing for you. There's zero protein, zero nutritional value. It's just bad. And the marinara doesn't help that, but...
So the Pringles mustache matches the Pringles logo.
Yeah.
I understand where the tie-in is,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
I don't know where the eyebrows came from for Little Caesars. Is this some piece of lore that I'm too young for?
It might be the actor who was in it. I think that might have been like a noteworthy person.
Somebody famous.
And
right,
I mean,
of course
he did
it's
have
somebody
big
famous.
eyebrows.
I get it. He has big eyebrows. But what does that have to do with Little Caesars? Like, they're just like, oh, it's so good that this famous actor's eyebrows. All right, whatever. Speaking of body mutations, the cowboy hat head commercial.
Oh my goodness, dude. That was
Also
so weird.
disturbing.
It played twice, didn't it? Or two different variations of it.
Two different versions of it. Yeah,
Like, what
it
the
was
heck?
weird.
It was not cool. The Super Bowl commercials were just not it this year. And like there was a bunch of them that were just basically we're going to take this $8 million time slot to preach at you about social justice for some group.
It's a way to get your buy-in. Like, if you agree with them on whatever their social justice thing is, you're going to get it. But also, a lot of those were from the NFL.
They were mostly
NFL
from
was
the
the one
NFL.
pushing the women's flag football, which is, a valid thing, I guess.
Really wild stuff coming from the Stop Hate organization, but we'll talk about that later.
That's a conversation for a
Another
little bit
commercial
later.
I wanted to mention.
I have some commercials that I liked that I want to get to also.
Well, let's start with the one I didn't like. Well, I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I just think it's wild.
Okay.
Hims and Hers.
It was weird. Childish Gambino in the soundtrack, too. That's all I was really paying. I was on the phone
Well,
when that one played.
Okay,
but-
so here's the deal. It talks about obesity being a big problem in America, which is true. It talks
is.
about obesity being like the leading cause of these different diseases and causes of
Right.
death. Like it's really bad. It's a problem in our nation, right? But and it talks about how the system is, the weight loss system, everything is just designed to keep us in this cycle,
Right.
Which most of us agree with. But then basically, it was just an ad because Hims and Hers now have Ozempic for you to get shipped to your front door.
Unregulated Ozempic.
Unregulated Ozempic is now
Not
available for the
FDA
public.
approved. Not that I think the FDA is necessarily like
Sure, yes.
perfect or
But I think
whatever. I
also,
don't know.
I heard that they didn't list the possible side effects, which may be illegal for a drug commercial.
Yeah, I saw that.
And then also advertising a completely unapproved, unregulated drug is a little bit wild. That might have been a little bit preemptive here.
Definitely like a weird ethical dilemma there for sure.
But that's not what I'm interested in here.
And it was a long slot too for that.
What I want to talk about is the fact that now this is like the next step in human evolution, if you will. Like this is the next development of society. Hims and Hers, they have hair loss treatments. Now they've got Ozempic.
They've got birth control.
got skincare, birth control. Basically, Hims and Hers are basically designed like we're at the point where as humans we can hack our bodies. Like we've got cheat
Yeah.
codes for our own bodies. Like as ourselves, we can grow our hair back. We can male pattern baldness doesn't have to be you necessarily anymore, and we've got Ozempic in its many versions now. Like weight loss doesn't have to be as difficult. Like there's things that we can do now. Like suddenly you can look however you want to look, and it's not a matter of genetics or lifestyle. It's just a matter of what you can buy, and I think this is the first. Hims and Hers would be the big or first one to have all of these things available in the same place at a like cheap value for free or whatever shipped to your door. Not all free, but
Not free.
I think
but
this is like
affordable.
the step in the direction our society is going. Like we're gonna have just like, hey, I want to hack everything. Like I just want the results right now for even our
Speaking
bodies.
of the future of society.
Are we about to talk about the ChatGPT commercial?
No, I wasn't going to talk about the ChatGPT commercial.
It was
Although
kinda
the
boring.
ChatGPT commercial was lame, they could have come up with something better using ChatGPT. I was going to talk about the
maybe.
Salesforce commercials. 2 commercials.
Yeah.
With Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson advertising Salesforce's new like AI chatbot
AI
feature.
agent.
AI agent, yeah.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is crappy. It's not good.
It doesn't work, but I like the idea though.
I like Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
I do too.
Like,
yeah, they're just
the
so
two
fun.
of them. It's all right. It was,
Woody Harrelson looks like he's getting old, dude.
He kind of is. I mean,
Like, I mean, I'm used to him as Hamish with like the flowing locks and stuff.
So
Now
he's bald and it bothers you.
Bald and
Yeah.
wrinkly and stuff, and I'm like, this dude's a funny old man, and I still love him, but like, goodness, he was like that guy back in the day, man.
So the Salesforce commercials are actually on my list of things that I didn't mind.
They were solid, yeah.
Some other commercials that I did enjoy. The Taco Bell commercial.
What was the Taco Bell commercial?
It was basically like celebrities don't make Taco Bell. And so they had Doja Cat and LeBron James.
Speaking of
and they
people
were
who are not looking well, Doja Cat is not looking well.
She never has.
She looks. I beg to differ.
Okay,
Early Doja, bro.
Since she's been famous, like a super mega ultra star, it's all been like weird.
I mean, at the very
like,
earliest of her fame, like when she was starting to really pop off, she was really good looking, and that was like part of her appeal. But now she's like, she looks like almost like a shriveled up grandma. Like she's
like emaciated. Yeah.
she doesn't look well. Like she looks sick.
Yeah, not okay.
Anyway, that was an interesting commercial. Not noteworthy enough, I think, to be.
It wasn't the best, but also it was noteworthy to all of the like probably close to 1,000 like Taco Bell fans that were in it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
lots
true.
Of just
the
regular
whole, like,
people.
hey, screenshot this for your mom. That's pretty cool.
And then you share it on your social media. Like, I was in a Super Bowl commercial. It does have a natural, like, outward going effect. Not good enough, though.
Also, if you were in that shot, then you're always going to be like, I love Taco Bell.
Right. Taco Bell's my favorite. I did think that the irony of LeBron being in it, talking about how he didn't get to be in it, mildly amusing and stuck with me, like somewhat memorable for me.
Whatever, yeah.
And I don't mind Taco Bell. Another one was Doritos, the Doritos commercial. Now, for anybody who doesn't know, Doritos ran a contest on TikTok to have like just fan-made commercials, and of course, Doritos is a big platform, so some of the best like up-and-coming cinematographer creators on TikTok put together commercials, and the Super Bowl slot was a commercial created by a guy on TikTok who made it by himself in his shed and did just a phenomenal job. And so knowing the story behind it made it punch that much more.
Yeah, I think this potentially is and possibly should be the future of marketing.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, like people spent, like, think about Dunkin', dude. They spent how much? I'm sure they spent millions and millions.
Everybody and their brother was in that commercial.
A bunch of celebrities and a bunch of extras and like a bunch of sets and props, and I'm sure they spent a fortune on the team that created it. And I mean, Doritos probably didn't even have to pay that guy.
I mean, they probably had to pay him something.
I mean, sure, maybe
for legal purposes, but
yeah,
he'd do it for dirt cheap, I'm sure. Like
not only is it beneficial for the company, and I know everybody hates capitalism and like big company bad, they should have to pay, but they it's good for the company because they don't have to pay it much, and it's phenomenal for the creator because now, like, first of all, this is huge on your resume. Now everybody wants to use you.
Oh, 100%.
Like, he's got
and he did a great job.
Like, he did great. Yeah, like the exposure is enough for him, and the commercial is enough for them. Like, this is just the most like symbiotic relationship you can possibly have as far as
and
marketing.
This is not like push. A new strategy. I think this might be new to the Super Bowl, but like outsourcing marketing to your patrons or your users is not a new concept. I mean, I read chapters on it when I was in college for marketing. Like, it is a thing, but it was definitely beautifully executed. There's something that registers to the human mind as a little bit like low down and dirty about outsourcing your marketing to fans, like fan marketing, because the fans put in the work for like no real return, only a return for the company. But I don't mind it that much. Sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's good. When I worked kind of managing for us doing music a couple years ago. When I was like 16, I was kind of managing our music platforms, and I would talk to producers, and I even talked to some like, self-proclaimed A&Rs, for their own little indie labels or whatever. And everybody always is like, oh, let's do this thing. Like, you provide your service to me, and I will offer you the exposure that I have to give.
Sure, yeah, but it's always like
And it's a
someone with
sham.
1,000 followers.
It's a total, like, it's not worth it.
Sure, yeah.
But there is such a thing as paid-in exposure, and speaking of paid-in exposure, the halftime performers do not get paid much of anything. They get paid like minimum wage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I heard about that too. It is time to talk about the halftime show.
No, it's not. I have more commercials first.
It's not time to talk about the halftime show.
All right. Honorable mention, Pampers with a 30-second bathroom break commercial.
Yeah, it's not even
Literally
long enough
just
to get to the bathroom.
I know. But that's probably all they could afford. So I hope you made quick
you'd have
work
to
of
be
the
like bathroom break. If you're wearing a diaper at the time, you kind of take a second and like, all right. Oh, man.
All right, so honorable mention there. Another one, Big Man on the Cul-de-Sac. This was a Bud Light commercial. Bud Light, by the way, trying really, really hard to reframe themselves in the public mind.
They did blow themselves up with a certain ad run a while ago, but they had Posty and
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis.
And
Everyone
it was
loves Shane Gillis
entertaining
and
and funny and just really good job. Still don't support them, but cool.
For other reasons, though, not because of the marketing.
And I think I'm ready
misfortune.
to assign my favorite Super Bowl commercial from this year.
Should we have a drum roll?
Matthew McCaughnehey's Uber Eats commercial.
Oh, yeah. That's the best commercial in any given football game is a Matthew McConaughey.
Thought it was really interesting. Thought he did a really good job. Thought the creative decisions were really tight. I really liked it.
He's just all around been really funny in commercials lately.
Yeah.
He's been fun.
And it ties into like football history, which resonates with some of the audience, and then it ties into like Uber Eats and like just some of the creative decisions, and Matthew McConaughey, which really resonates with a younger audience.
Speaking of Uber Eats,
yeah.
What was it, like the DoorDash or Instacart commercial? I thought it was interesting with
It was
literally
Instacart
all
that
the
had
brands.
all of the IPs.
They just
they had
a
all
bunch of brands together.
The mascots from every brand. That was super wild.
That's
was
another
like,
one that's interesting as far as like who's getting paid in exposure here.
yeah, like did the brands pay to be in the Instacart commercial? Some of those were brands that definitely didn't have a commercial in the Super Bowl, like Mr. Clean, no Super Bowl ad. Hillsborough Doughboy, the Green Giant from Green
Jolly
Beans.
Green Giant, yeah.
Yeah, none of those guys had Super Bowl commercials, but we saw them.
Yeah.
So
Is it
that's
now
cool.
time to talk about the halftime show?
I'm ready.
Let's talk about the halftime show. First of all,
I don't want to talk about it for a long time. I didn't like it.
let me just preface this by saying, good Lord, it was so pretentious. It was so much. I'm getting so bored of this Kendrick stick, dude. And like the Kendrick fans, these 12 to 17-year-old white boys are like, oh, look at the symbolism. The Fantanos of the world probably loved it. There was some symbolism there. You do have to respect the symbolism. There was potentially quite a lot of symbolism. I'm not sure I liked what it was trying to symbolize. I'm not sure exactly what the point was. I don't have enough knowledge of the Kendrick Lamar shtick or catalog to really know what was going on necessarily or what he was trying to say. I will say at this point, like it's disingenuous almost.
My favorite part was when he kept chanting, "Turn the TV off, turn the TV off." Like,
The
I felt
irony.
like that's what I should be
irony,
doing right
yeah.
now for sure.
And listen, I know at this point I feel like I'm just a Kendrick hater.
You're a broken record.
I'm a broken record.
Yeah.
I mean, but at this point, like, how many times can Kendrick be shoved down my throat and me not be a Kendrick hater?
Yeah.
And I understand that, like, that's a dumb thing, and that's what it is with the Chiefs, even, or maybe even like Taylor Swift. But honestly, I'm
a Taylor Swift hater too.
Yeah.
It sounds like everybody is. When she was shown on the Jumbotron at the game, everybody booed.
They did, yeah. But also, like, man, there's just so many things about Kendrick and, like, his thing that don't even make sense. I mean, I get that it's, like, big as the Super Bowl or whatever, but he's supposed to be, like, counterculture or whatever, and he's getting the cosign with the biggest stage on earth and all the stuff. It's just whatever, dude. Like, you're you're going over the top here, and it's getting to be a little cringe.
This is probably the last time, unless something crazy happens, the last time I want to weigh in on the Kendrick and Drake beef on the pod. But my theory is and has been for a while now, Kendrick called Drake some very bad and unverified things made some unfounded accusations on national TV, on the biggest stage on earth, or at least what has historically been the biggest stage on earth. Let's talk about whether it is in a minute. But that's a defamation lawsuit waiting to happen. Drake has the ammo that he needs. So the lawsuit can happen. It can be big. Like everybody can be talking about it. I don't want to talk about it unless I have to. But
I wonder if Drake's gonna clap back though.
Yeah, Drake will probably drop a diss song and yada yada. I'm bored of talking about it. I'm bored of thinking about it. One other thing though is if one theory that we had discussed before is true and it's all just kind of fabricated to get views for both of them and their labels.
Sure.
That defamation lawsuit still happens. It's really loud. It's shoved down our throats everywhere we go, like Drake and Kendrick, and then they settle out of court, finger quotes, and that's that. I don't know. I'm bored of it. I'm done talking about it. Is the Super Bowl the largest platform, the largest stage in the world anymore?
I think we all know the answer is no.
A Mr. Beast video does better numbers than the Super Bowl.
Let's look it up real quick.
I don't know what we can search to verify this. You can definitely look up what the viewership was last night. I'm sure that's available.
How many viewers Super Bowl 2025? 2025 Super Bowl drew 113 million viewers, according to this.
And the interesting thing about the Super Bowl is that it's a live TV event, and so it will be rewatched, but it's primarily gonna be.
According to this, actually,
viewers.
the Super Bowl had a 5% decline from 2024, and the halftime show had a 4% decline from last year's halftime show. Anyway, the point is, if it is 113 million views, let's look at Mr. Beast's biggest videos.
And so let's do some inflating on the numbers real quick. If it's 113, let's call it 250 million views that the Super Bowl gets, right?
Sure.
Being generous with rewatches, because its primary viewership comes live while it's happening.
Sure, yeah.
Right? So very generous with the rewatches.
I think the average Super Bowl, they say, gets like 300 million views, right?
Okay, fine. We'll call it 300 million, all right?
Yeah.
That's some very generous second watching from football fans. Looking at Mr. Beast, 746 million.
Man.
496 million, 455 million, 431 million, 412 million, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 more videos before we get to something that is at 300 million views. That was starting at his most viewed and going down.
Right. I wonder how many views did Beast Games get?
I don't think that those numbers are publicly available in their there's going to be a number online, but I don't think it's going to be accurate yet.
Probably. According to this, it had 50 million unique viewers in the first 25 days.
I mean, that's not competing with the Super Bowl.
No.
But regardless,
It was number one show in like every country in the world. But yeah, Kendrick has yet to show up in a Mr. Beast video and call out Drake. If he does do that, I want my royalties. Kendrick, you heard it here first. You know we came up with this.
We came up with this idea.
You heard it here first. But yeah, no, the Super Bowl is not the biggest platform in the world anymore. No, it's probably the biggest. I mean, as far as the biggest stage to like perform, probably. I mean, what about these? What about these like Fortnite live streams or whatever?
That doesn't. No, it's not.
Like these Fortnite live parties where like Travis Scott performs. Curious about that.
Super Bowl's bigger. Also, like, the advertising revenue is way more serious.
Super Bowl generates a lot of advertising revenue, yeah.
Also, advertising to Fortnite players, the demographic does not have money. Like, I mean, they have some money, maybe. Like, it's a valuable demographic.
Super Bowl is
that's for
probably the most valuable demographic. As far as,
Right.
like, people with money to spend who are going to spend money, the Super Bowl
Right.
probably generates more than
richest
a
people
Mr.
in the
Beast
world
video.
are at the Super Bowl, and the richest demographic in the world will be watching the Super Bowl,
Right.
which is upper and middle class Americans, but also nearly everyone, like,
Yeah.
in America watches it. So, like,
Or at least is at a Super Bowl party while somebody's watching
right,
it.
is adjacent to it.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing. If there was 113 million concurrent viewers, is that concurrent viewing households? Because there were probably 10 people, more than that, 20 people where we were,
Yeah,
and
we
2
had several
TVs. So,
You never, it's hard to say.
interesting thing to consider. Anyway, it's about time to wrap things up.
Yes.
Before we do, I want to make one more mention of another truly awful commercial.
What was that?
The In Jerry Law Firm.
Oh, that was bad.
They showed like 6 times.
That was bad.
They had like the full 30-second slot like 3 or 4 times, and then a shorter like 15-second slot a couple times as well.
I don't know
And,
if dude
like,
thought it through.
That's a lot of money to spend as a law firm.
That's a weird thing. Didn't like
Not
that.
worth the money.
No.
Didn't like the ad. I guess if I get injured though, maybe I'm gonna remember In Jerry.
I'm not saying it. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Episode 26 of the Alibi Pod. We'll see y'all next week.
We hope you enjoyed the Super Bowl.